And I thought that, how long will I keep on dragging this? Because Freebirds has been running in my mind since college. And if I don't do this, I'll always regret it. First challenge was, people wondering, would you be able to do it? A couple of people I remember, my own relatives, told me, listen, you are in India and it's not easy. You're a woman. Get some, men in the team, and that sort of hits you with a little bit of low self-confidence. Oh my God, I've done so much in life, now back, I'll have to start everything from scratch. But then what helped is, I would say, the ecosystem of other women entrepreneurs definitely helps. I think Dhriti's program was one of the first ones I attended. And when I saw 30 other women entrepreneurs with me in a room, women coming from villages, women coming from big cities, all sorts of women doing different kinds of startups, it boosted my confidence.
Hello everyone, Ashok here. Thank you for tuning in to this 18th episode of Indian Startup Stories, a podcast thriving to bring out experiences and insights from entrepreneurs across India. Today, our guest is Rithika Baruah, founder of Freebirds, a platform for community of explorers and experiential learners. In this episode, Rithika shares her background, leadership experiences across the globe, her passion to do more for the community, her unique way of turning the idea into a product, starting alone and its challenges. She also talks about the growing women entrepreneurship communities like Dhriti, Her and Now, and multiple success stories in and around Northeast India, and much more valuable information for us to take away. So without further ado, let's jump in. Hi Rithika, thank you for coming on Indian Startup Stories today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ashok, for inviting me here. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure too. Yeah. Please share about your background, studies, and your early career day experiences.
Sure. So if I go back to my childhood, I was born and brought up in Assam. And then, like every typical Indian, I did my engineering from an NIT and then my MBA from an IIM. As an exchange student, I also studied in Sweden, and I studied at Harvard Business School as well on leading product innovation. And my work journey so far has spanned across multiple continents, I would say. I was in India for a couple of years. I worked with Unilever and then with Tata. And while working with these big companies, I realized that I will be working in a silo and it'll take me a long time to learn everything about the business. So that's when in 2014, I started looking for opportunities where I would be able to learn more about business in general, because I always had an idea that I want to be an entrepreneur someday in the future. So that's when I went to Africa in Nigeria in
Wow.
2014. And that's when Ebola had started there. And a
Okay.
friend of mine was working there, and he spoke about the work culture in this company called Tolaram. And he said that it's a very entrepreneurial company. It gives you interesting roles in the beginning of your career, and it lets you experiment, because it was a smaller company there versus the companies I was working with, and I would get more opportunities. So that took me to Africa. And when I started working there, I started as an area sales manager. I worked with different delivery vehicles delivering to multiple outlets. I think I was
Mm.
handling 60 vehicles in the beginning of my career. But very quickly, I realized that my analytical skills could be used in sales, and I could bump up sales very quickly. So that's when I realized that, and I had done only marketing roles in India when I was here. So it
Okay.
was an interesting transition for me. So after that, coincidentally at that time, this company called Arla Foods, which is world's fourth largest dairy company, had an investment in the company I was working in. And that's when I started working with Arla as category manager for the country. And in the first year of launch, I decided that we'll do business of at least $80 million. And we did hit the targets that year. And that's when Kellogg's had an investment in Africa with Tolaram, and they had a 51% share of the company. So then Kellogg's asked for me, and they said that we want this lady to be the general manager of Kellogg's Tolaram South Africa. And that's when I moved to South Africa, and I worked there as general manager. I launched a very interesting product. So Kellogg's wanted to move out of the breakfast category and innovate.
Mhm.
So they told me that they want to launch noodles, and it would be called
Okay.
Kellogg's Noodles, and it would be launched in competition to Maggie. And I had to innovate to figure out how can we create noodles with Kellogg's brand and how can it differentiate. So it became an interesting journey. And once I did that successfully, and the product became the second biggest brand in South Africa within 2 years. So that's when I gained a little bit of confidence that, yes, perhaps I have now understood multiple aspects of the business and I can, start my own. So that's when in 2019, I, left my job. I came back to India and decided to start Freebirds. And last year during COVID is when we actually launched, and this is the whole
Okay.
journey. Yeah.
Okay. Nice background. Cool. Please share about the company that you founded here and its product and what problem you're addressing to solve.
Right. So, Freebirds essentially, as the name suggests, is a community of free thinkers, a community of explorers. As humans, we what we desire in the end is a little bit more freedom, a little bit more knowledge, and knowledge is what makes you free. So that's why I thought that why not create a platform for experiential learning. So I see that there are multiple tech platforms today which are about knowledge. So if you want to learn something for competitive exams or you want to learn a particular skill, there are multiple platforms like Byju's, Unacademy. There are platforms like Coursera. So you can actually go and learn there. But if you want to experience something yourself, for
Mhm.
example, for example, if you want to go to a place and volunteer and learn about how social ventures work, there is no platform for that. If you are a person interested in weaving and these are things that you need to learn hands on, there's no platform for that. So that's when I decided that this is a space, this is an opportunity, and I want to launch there. So that's when I launched Freebirds, where people can have their profiles, they can write stories, they can share about their experiences with others, they can host interesting learning experiences, as well as they can attend learning experiences. So this was the idea, and this is what we do as a company. It's still work in progress, there's a lot to develop on the platform, but yeah, that is essentially the idea. And if I tell you a little bit about how it solves someone's problems, it was actually clearly a problem for me, because it was clearly an opportunity. I knew that because when I was in Africa, or when I was in even Mumbai, during weekends when I have free time, I used to want to learn new things. I consider myself a lifelong learner. And if you see the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, it talks about lifelong learning as an important goal for the world, for quality of education to happen, for people to have a certain sense of responsibility and love towards the world. People need to be experiential learners. Now, what is experiential learning? For example, today, if I want to learn about anything, I can just Google, I can read books, I can find content about it. But things that you actually have insights on, they can only come with hands on learning. For example, you can read all about coding, but you cannot learn coding without actually doing it. You can
True. Yeah.
think all about, you can go to a place, like say you can go to a place like Assam or a place like Karnataka and know nothing about the culture, because you've just visited the beautiful places there and come back without immersing into the culture, without learning how to cook the
Mhm.
local food. Or these were the kind of experiences I used to look for, and I used to Google and never find a platform where I could actually connect with other people, work with them, and learn something new. And that's when I got
Mm.
the idea that, okay, if I have a platform where I can have a profile, people like say Ashok can have a profile, and I can get to know them, I can get to learn from them directly, then it can open up a world of possibilities. So that's when I thought that a platform for experiential learning is the way I want to go.
Nice. It is. It is also helping the local communities just not limited to the brands and the existing businesses around. That's good to know. Yes.
Yeah,
So
actually,
what?
I mean, I'm sorry, you're going to the next question. I'm cutting you off, but I'll say the
No problem.
dynamic that happens in this case is so interesting. I mean, during COVID only, this happened. So I'll tell you one more thing. Before COVID, we thought all experiential learning has to be offline, because when it's an
Hmm.
experience, it has to be through all your senses. You're interacting, you're doing things, you are experiencing it, so they have to be offline. We never thought it would be online. Everybody wanted
Yeah.
recorded sessions and they were watching things through YouTube, and we were thinking that we want to do things where people are actually present and interacting
Hmm.
with each other. But COVID happened and we decided let's pivot quickly. So before the world had moved on to online, webinars and this and that, we had launched online experiences by ourselves in
Okay.
February 2020. And when we
Okay.
launched,
Exactly before that.
yeah,
Before the
exactly right
shutdown.
then. And we had launched our online experiences. And when we were doing that, uh, we realized, and we did this, that all our sessions would be live and interactive because it's experiential learning. None of the sessions would be for 100, 200 people. All sessions would be for 10, 15 people maximum. They'll be personalized
Okay.
and they will be, live. So when that's where people are interacting. So interestingly, some schools approached us that, can we do this as well? So that also gave us a new avenue. Now, how it helped
Okay.
local communities. Now, children from a place in Shillong in Meghalaya, these are children from villages who have, now internet connection thanks to Geo. They are, using their phone or using whatever devices they have, and they joined this module, and the government paid for the project. And we got artists from Mumbai and from Gujarat who were teaching them. Now, look at how it opens up knowledge for the local community. An artist
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Mumbai is teaching someone from Shillong, and this is happening live. These connections are going to be lifelong, and this is what this platform enables. So, so this is something that I found very interesting during the journey, and it makes me grateful to see how it helps people on both sides.
True. That's wonderful to know. How did it all start, Ritika? The idea of free birds. When was the spark moment? What triggered?
So that's an interesting story, actually. I'm glad you asked. Freebird started in the journey of Freebirds actually started in 2012-13 when I was in college in MBA.
Okay. Long
And
back.
there was this friend of mine, Radul Sharma, and we studied in the same college, and we had this Facebook group and we called it Freebirds. And we had gotten
Okay.
some people along, and there was this small community within college, and we used to there debate and discuss about education system. Like what
Mhm.
are the flaws of the education system? Why is rote learning so popular in developing countries, especially Asian countries? Why is achievement so much more important than learning or growth? How can we bring in a change where people can have both? They learn how to be good at something and at the same time be able to explore different dimensions of themselves, personally, professionally, everything, and do it with a certain sense of joy. For example, we always saw kids bunking classes because everybody thought that learning is something boring. Learning is something, oh my god, I don't want to do it. But why can't learning be joyful? Why can't learning be interesting? So we used to debate a lot. And then I remember I had put one fine day when I was, full of energy, and I wrote there that there's no point talking about all this. If we really want to do something, come and join me and let's do something. So then two people turned up
Okay.
out of the group
Oh,
of,
nice.
hundreds. And three of us decided, let's create some modules and go to schools and see how it goes. And we created some experiential learning modules around confidence building, around being able to speak your mind, around being able to tell children about the opportunities that are there in the world. So we did that and we went to schools, and because perhaps we were IM students, we were given an entry and we were told, okay, these are the days, take sessions. And once we took
Mhm.
the sessions, we realized that we were not there to teach them. there was a lot of learning that was happening internally. We were learning
Okay.
about leadership or about how service helps us in a different way. So it was actually beneficial for us as well. And I felt that every college student should be able to do that, to be able to interact in the real world and learn something from there. And at the same
Mhm.
time, the school students wrote us letters that this was the best day of their lives. And they
Oh, nice.
really liked the sessions we did in school, and they look forward to going to school because of us. And that
Okay.
completely shifted our perspectives. And I thought that there is something to this idea and we need to do it. At that time, the platform was not in the mind, it was just the vision and the mission that was clear. But I had a loan. I had to pay an education loan. I had never worked, so I did not know how an work environment is. I had done internships, but I never, handled a business alone. So then Freebirds took a back seat, and we all went our separate ways. One of the friends joined Google, another joined an education startup, and I went to Africa, and things went
Okay.
along. And then but in my mind, I could not let Freebirds go. In my mind, I felt that that is my life's work. That is somewhere, that's where I felt purpose within, that this is
Mhm.
the purpose, this is what I want to do in life, you know. So I kept it there, and then once I paid off my loans, and I was financially at a place where I could afford to be an entrepreneur. And I had done things, I had some dreams to do for my family, like doing things for my parents, and making sure my sister has a good education. So all these things, once I finished all my responsibilities, and I reached a place in my career where I had the recognition, where people believed in me. I believed in myself more than people believing in me. I had the confidence that,
Okay.
yes, I can do things on my own. That's when I came
Mhm.
back to India. I reached out to the two friends I had and with whom I had started long back. They
In
unfortunately,
college.
married, and they're like not no entrepreneurship now. So I decided to start alone. So that's when
Okay.
that's how Freebird started. And I just launched it. I went and did pilots. I went from Assam to Bihar to Delhi to Mumbai to Bangalore to Coimbatore, and I did different pilots. And I realized, yeah, there's merit to this idea. Now I needed a tech team. And that's when I met Reep Jyoti and Omkar, who were working in Zeta Labs at that point of time. And they decided to join Freebirds full time and be a part of the tech team to make sure that what needs to happen for the platform, they can do that.
Okay, there's a strong reason and the history starting from your college days. That's good to know. Moving on into the transition phase. In your career, you were managing sales, you were into leadership roles like general manager, advisory board member, pretty good tracks so quick. When did you start planning to start something of your own? And how did you manage your transition from employee to entrepreneur? Can you talk about the challenges you have been through and how did you manage to pull it through?
Sure. So, interestingly, I think the bent of mind that I am, or the kind of person that I am, even in the companies, I got very entrepreneurial roles. For example,
Mhm.
when I was in Tata Steel, I was asked to launch this product called farming cages. It was a product for farmers, for tomato farmers, basically, because tomato is a creeper crop. So they had innovated and built these kind of steel cages which farmers could use, which would give them
Mhm.
a better ROI in the long term. And it would reduce labor costs and keep the farm and the plant healthier and give 33% more output. So, and it was a completely new product. Steel, when I entered Tata Steel, I thought I would be working with rebars or, steel sheets, the popular ones. Everybody got that. Or they got marketing of, a brand that was already existing. Now, I was handed over this product and they said, find out a way to sell and market it both,
Okay,
from
challenging.
branding to selling. And that's when I figured out, oh, there are agriculture MBAs also. I did not even know it at that
Oh,
time. I met farmers
okay.
from different states, and I launched a completely sustainable new business channel there. And that project, my boss actually presented to Ratan Tata. It was also presented to the Andhra Pradesh Assembly, and I loved
Mhm.
it. I had done something completely new. Once I went from here to Tolaram, I told you initially I was given the role of an employee, the role of area sales manager, but somehow I felt I could do more. So I actually went up to my boss's boss and I said that, I want more work. And the person looked at me and, laughed and said that nobody comes to me asking for more work. I said, it's just because I can't sit still. And in Africa, I don't know many people, so I don't have, other things to do. So give
Mhm.
me something more so that I can learn more. And I have this urge to learn more. So there also, I did that. And because it was successful, Arla hired me to launch their products in Nigeria. So I had launched it from scratch, from figuring out the supply chain, figuring out the brand, figuring out the whole value chain, pricing
Mhm.
to selling, everything I had to do. Now, when I went to South Africa, again, it was like I told, it was Kellogg's noodles, a product I had never thought of. And I thought, how can Kellogg's be noodles, right? It should be
True.
cornflakes. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I could believe it, and I could, find a way to market it that even the consumers believed it. And it was the first one in the world Kellogg's had launched. Kellogg's had not launched
Okay.
anywhere noodles. So South Africa was the first one. Now they have gone to Egypt and now they'll go to other
Mhm.
countries. So I was the first one to launch there. So I'd somehow been in a different side of an employee. I was always in an entrepreneurial setup, even in companies. So the transition for me was not that difficult in terms of how to work or how to bring an idea into execution. But the challenges were rather in a company, what happens is the financial part is taken care of. When you go to the board saying, I need to do $80 million dollars with Arla, give me $8
Mhm.
million dollars marketing budget, you get it. They sign it off and you
Yeah.
execute it. Now that doesn't happen in the startup. That is the challenge. You need to learn to bootstrap. You need to
Mhm.
learn to be able to do things in a very different way, with the mindset that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if the flow of money is going to be the same. So how do you keep on making the startup sustainable was the challenge. And when I realized those hacks and I realized how to deal with that pressure and work with that, that was an interesting journey, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Quite a lot of insights from the previous experience and also into a startup thing. Nice. I'm sure you might have had many initial days challenges in your startup Freebirds. Can you talk about any specific instances or the difficult circumstances you have been through, and who helped you in that journey, and how did you manage to come up?
Sure. I think for most of us, and especially women, the initial challenge that you face is from your own, friends and family. Because the first thing your parents ask, at least me, that's what they asked is, why are you doing this? I mean, you were at a very good job. Your career was going amazingly. Even my friends were saying you were at the peak of your career. Because I think, I don't know that for a fact, but I think at that age, at the age of 28, 29, being a general manager is quite fast. And
Yeah, yeah, quick, so
being
quick.
yeah, and in South Africa, even my colleagues were very young. Sorry, my colleagues who were working in my designation were not, of my age. They were much older than me. My other colleagues who were younger, they were working
Mhm.
in different kind of roles. So, and even my company people said, think about it, come back, and you are at a peak of your career. Go a little bit more further, and then probably do it. And I
Mhm.
thought that, how long will I keep on dragging this? Because Freebirds has been running in my mind since college. And if I don't do this, I'll always regret it. So I have to do it. The time is now. So yeah, the first challenge was, people wondering, would you be able to do it? A couple of people I remember, my own relatives, told me, listen, you are in India and it's not easy. You're a woman. The starting up is not easy. Get some, men in the team, and that sort of hits you with a little bit of low self confidence. Oh my God, I've done so much in life now. Back, I'll have to start everything from scratch. But then
Mhm.
what helped is, I would say, the ecosystem of other women entrepreneurs definitely helps. I think Dhriti's program was one of the first ones I attended. And when I saw 30 other women entrepreneurs with me in a room. Women coming from villages, women coming from big cities, all sorts of women doing different kinds of startups. It boosted my confidence that, no, Ritika, you can do this. You've got this. Just have the patience. And I think I would also mention Mr. TV Srinivasan, my coach.
Mhm.
He has helped me a lot. He makes me see things from a different perspective. He tells me, about patience, about, that in business or in a startup, the most important thing is patience and perseverance. Things might go very fast, very soon, or it might not, but you need to keep on doing it for the next 5 years. So that helped me a lot. I think my life partner, my husband, we recently got married in December, but we have been in a relationship even before. So he was always very encouraging. He had started up long back. He went back to a job, but he said that failure has taught him more than anything else. So he
Mhm.
keeps me going. So all these people, I would say, and even finding Reap and Omkar, the people who joined me in the journey, I think that was a big boost because sometimes there are times when you are troubled, they are there to pick you up. And when they are troubled, I am there to pick them up. So all these interesting people that I came kept me going. So these are the things that helped me, and these were the challenges I faced. And I would say more than anything, I think for any entrepreneur, what makes keeps them going is the happiness in the faces of their clients. When the customer becomes happy, when your hosts become happy, when your partners say that, okay, this is something I would like to do. I remember I have done a project in January called Unheard Unseen with some collaborators. And the lady I worked with there, Kavya, says that this is something I can do for my whole life. I love this project. And that,
Nice.
makes you happy that, yes, this has made it. And even if it changes the life of one person or makes them a little bit happier, I think I would consider that success. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, community plays a big role, right? And your journey and experience has been featured in multiple events, and the main platform being the woman entrepreneur community, as you mentioned, Dhriti, and also her, and now I guess the collaborative initiatives by multiple entrepreneurship specifically for women. Can you share your experience, which are close to your heart, regarding the support that you receive and are available for women? When I first reached out to Dhriti, I was surprised that whenever you think of a startup ecosystem, the cities around the startup ecosystem, you always get four or five major cities in India. But it's very encouraging and also good to know that in Northeast we have such community, and there is quite a lot of entrepreneurship community booming there. Can you talk about a little bit on her and now and Dhriti?
Yeah. So, I think the last when I was speaking about Dhriti, I said that one of the things that even just like you that surprised me was, oh my God, there are so many women entrepreneurs from Assam doing amazing things, from weaving to upcycling to organic products, to tourism, multiple things people were doing. So that boosted my confidence. In terms of the ecosystem for women entrepreneurs, I would say that whatever has been done so far is good, but we have a long, long way to go.
Hmm.
We don't have there is a lot of discussion about women entrepreneurs. So there are multiple networks today. I myself am a part of 4 5
Okay.
networks of women entrepreneurs today. But I would say one of the things that we lack is information on schemes and grants. Like a lot of us, we struggle with the knowledge of what's available for us out there that we can actually use in the business, because in the end, a lot of mentorship is what we got and what is useful. I would say that that is one part that a lot of networks are doing brilliantly. Even Hriti is doing well. But I would say in terms of the financial support, I hope that organizations come up that help women entrepreneurs, and not just women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs in general. I would say that that is one part where we need help and knowledge rather more than help. We did not know where to go, or we did not know what are the opportunities we can avail. Perhaps there are opportunities out there, but that information doesn't come to us. So I would say that there we have a long way to
Mhm.
go. I'll tell you one interesting thing, and I think that I love about women that way, that no matter what challenge you throw to them, they figure out a way to solve it. I was doing this women entrepreneurs boot camp with another organization. They also work with the women entrepreneurs. So, and I did a boot camp across Northeast in the smaller cities. So, for example, Dhriti's camp was in
Mhm.
Guwahati. So I thought that, okay, let me see if it's there in Tejpur also. So I went to Tejpur, which is a smaller city. I went to a village called Zero in Arunachal
Okay.
Pradesh. I went to, all these places. And interestingly, there was a tech startup in Zero by a woman who's a
Oh,
lawyer.
nice.
So, and she already had people on the platform using the platform, and it was interesting. There were women entrepreneurs doing weaving projects and trying to bring the traditions of the land to the outside audience. And that sort of amazed me. I never, when I went to Zero, trust me, Ashok, I thought that maybe two people will turn up. We just put up a poster on Facebook. We did not even, market it, say anything. We said, Freebirds is coming to Zero. If there are any women entrepreneurs there, let's meet up. And around 10, 15 people turned up in Zero, a village that most people have never heard of. And a tech startup joined us there. And that's what, that's what's amazing. I would say women's perseverance is commendable. I think all sorts of entrepreneurs who come from different tier cities, it's commendable. A lot of social ventures are coming up. It's commendable as well. And I hope that, programs like Harinna or Dhriti, they are useful to women entrepreneur communities, and they can keep on going to smaller towns and cities and helping as many people as they
That's
can.
nice. Yeah. Zero is a town in Arunachal Pradesh, right? It's interesting to know. Can you talk about the founding team and the challenges you faced as an individual while starting the team, and what are the challenges you had to go through before kickstarting your own business?
So, in terms of the founding team, like I said, there is this. I started alone, right?
Yeah.
Because when I came, I asked my friends, and they said that, oh, that would be tough. Entrepreneurship would be tough. We now have families, and we are in our journeys. So, but we are there. We are there for you. We are there to help you. So that's when I think this Tagore ka poem comes to my mind, where Jodi tor dakshone keo na ache, ekla cholo re. So if there is nobody with you, walk alone.
Hmm.
So that's what Rabindranath Tagore said. And I thought of that poem for some reason, and I thought, doesn't matter. I'll start it. But I am a big believer of the universe, and that the universe supports you.
Nice.
So when I started, I did not expect that somebody would join me. I decided I'll do it. I have been an engineer. I have, published papers before. I have coded before. So if no, I don't find anybody, I'll learn coding from scratch. I'll join a course. I'll build the platform. Then I'll go marketing and
Okay.
figuring out how
Full
to
swing. Yeah.
community. So I had decided, it doesn't matter to me. If somebody joins me, fine. If somebody doesn't, I'll do it on my own.
Mhm.
So when I reached Guwahati, I met my friend Abhishek, and Abhishek was one of the first people who was a part of the journey. So I said, "This is what I'm thinking of." So the first thing before creating a platform for others, you have to walk the ground. You have to see if that you can do that. So we went to schools, we did certain workshops. We Some travelers wanted to travel to Assam, so we did a trip for them. We organized a learning experience trip
Okay.
for them. So we tried out everything that I thought the platform could offer: volunteering experience, workshops, and travel journeys, which are learning travel journeys, not just leisure travel
Mhm.
journeys. So these are the three things, three basic products that the platform offers: learning travel, workshops and activities which are hands on, short courses, and the third one is volunteering. So we tried these ourselves and it worked. So that's when I worked with him. Then he again joined a job. Avanti is what he joined at that time as a teacher, because when he started working with me, he fell in love with the idea of working with organizations that help you teach. So he wanted to teach himself. He joined there. Then coincidentally, I think I met Reep Jyoti for a coffee. I knew him in school, and for multiple years we had not spoken. We met in between in Mumbai, and he had come back from, I think, France. He had come back to India, and he was thinking what to do. And I was, in the beginning of the journey of Freebirds. So there was this particular cafe I remember. It was one day I sat with him and I was just talking to him, and he said, I have this friend Omkar, I'm bringing him, and they both joined me. And yeah, and then I opened my laptop. I said that, he said, what are you guys doing? And sorry, he asked, what are you doing? And I said that this is the idea of Freebird. So I showed him a concept presentation that I had
Mhm.
made for myself. I had not shown it to anybody. I had just made a concept presentation that this is the vision, this is the mission, this is how we are going to do it.
Okay.
They saw it, and from that day they were in. So I would say that for me, I didn't face much conflicts. We were not, both three of us, we just want to live a good life, a happy life, do something for the country, for the society, for the world, leave your little footprint in the world. And so we never had those typical co-founder, issues. I think they came in, and then since then we are just working together. No questions asked, nothing. We formed the company in September 2020.
Okay.
Till then, we have been working without even paperwork, and but working full time.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, so that has been my journey.
That's good. So when was
Yeah.
your first moment of relief? You started very recently and even now your company is very young. So what was the first moment of relief you had? Was it a customer success story, or was it something your product has been used by these many people? What was the moment that you felt?
So I think before talking about first moment of relief, I would talk about the first moment of
Yeah.
joy. So I was in Himachal. That was during the time when the team had not joined me.
Mhm.
I had not found a team, and I was working alone and doing pilots. So I had gone to this art festival in Gunehar. It's a village where they have started this amazing art festival where artists from India come for a residency program, and children they of the village, they learn from these artists, and the output of it is a festival where the children do a play, they showcase a movie that they make, they do wall paintings in different
Mhm.
places. It's a very good learning experience. I thought, let me go there. So I met this person named KM Lo, and he was a Chinese
Mhm.
guy. He came to India, so he travels to India. He loves India, so he travels to India every
Okay.
year, and he's a movie maker there. He's a filmmaker in China. So he makes Hong Kong cinema, all those martial arts
Mhm.
movies, and he has developed a way called tuk tuk cinema. What is tuk tuk cinema? In tuk tuk cinema, he converts an auto rickshaw into a movie theater at the cheapest cost possible. And he makes science fiction or interesting movies, action movies, and shows it in the auto rickshaw. And he makes it at a very low
Okay.
budget. So I
So
said,
it's
this is a
it's
very
getting
interesting
featured only in the
concept.
auto rickshaws, is it? It's not for the featured film.
No, it's not for the
Okay.
feature. The auto rickshaws or laptops or YouTube, you
Oh,
can watch
nice.
it. Very low budget, but lovely movies. I'll probably share with you the links also
Okay.
later if you want to watch him. So, and I told him about the concept of free birds. This is what I'm thinking. So, I want that when you are a traveler, you're coming to India, you have this skill. Why don't you teach it in different places? Let's put it up on our
Mhm.
platform. And he said yes. And he completely resonated with the idea, and I that was my first moment of joy. Oh my god, these kind of people exist. The thing that I want to do, experiential learning, that other people learning unique things from other people, these people exist. So that happened. Then after that, the team had joined me. Then the first moment of relief happened after that. Is that time the team, we wanted time, that I had always decided that it would be a flexi time, flexi location culture for
Mhm.
Freebirds. Just like the name, anybody in the team should be able to work from anywhere and at any time. No concept of, 9 to 5. Uh, because I feel that if someone has ownership and passion, they'll do it
Yeah.
anyways. And if they don't have, even if you make them sit for 9 to 5, they'll not do it.
True.
So I would rather give people the freedom and have them do it joyfully. But in the beginning, I always believe that you need to meet and you need to prime. By priming, I mean that the team needs to find the way, that rhythm. So we decided we'll live together in
Okay.
Bangalore. So both the people, both my co-founders, they came to Bangalore to my place, and we lived together in one house. So we were, cooking together, eating together, working together.
Mhm.
So it brought us close, and it brought us in an understanding of how our routines are. How do we live? What do we like? How do we discuss? How do we think? So during that time, I met this person called Saurav
Mhm.
Arya. He lives in Bangalore. He's a digital nomad, and he has these hostels called Workstays and Small World in Bangalore. So when I spoke to him, I met him through a common friend, and I told him about Freebirds. He was in, and then the Chinese filmmaker was coming to Bangalore
Okay.
coincidentally. So I said, let's organize a workshop in Saurav's place with KM and use Freebirds as the platform. And we did that. People came. The movie making workshop happened and went beautifully. The people learned in Bangalore. They enjoyed it. KM enjoyed it. We are still in touch. So that was my first moment of relief, that creating a community, bringing different people together to make experiential learning happen, using a platform to do that, and actually benefiting the people who came there to learn. So that was my first moment of relief, and I realized my MVP is done. The web app was up, the platform was up, the first experience was done, tickets were booked, and collaboration happened between the community, and it was fruitful. So I think that was my first moment
That's
of
nice. So
relief.
when was it? Is it before COVID or during?
Before
Okay.
COVID, much before COVID. It was actually January. It was January 2nd or 3rd in
Oh,
2020.
okay, nice. So how spread is your customer base? Is it within India or is it a global product? How people are using?
So overall, we would like it to be a global product, because when you see, like I said, there are two, three pillars, right, for Freebirds in terms of products. So number one pillar, which is travel, I see that although it is picking up in India, learning travel, it is a lot in the West. A lot of international tourists who come to India, they come to actually interact with the community. There are travelers who come to, stay in five-star hotels and, see the good places and go. But I see a lot of travelers who come to India seeking themselves. They want personal growth. They want to interact with the local community. I know personally that there are students from Harvard who come to India to learn about their subjects, about developing economies. Even in South Africa, when I was there, I was asked to give a talk to London School of Economics students because they wanted to learn about South Africa. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
interest of school and college students in courses where they want people to travel to India and learn about it. So that's why my market, I would say, is global. But overall, right now, we have only grown through word of mouth and organic, and I've kept it that way because we are
Mhm.
bootstrapped. So we haven't reached out to a whole lot of audience, but we have. But interestingly, I would say 90% on the platform, 85-90% is Indian crowd, but somehow 10% is crowd from other countries. I don't know how they are coming or how they have heard. Like recently, we got an inquiry, and it happened also. The workshop happened for Madhubani painting from US.
Okay.
Some customers from US said that we want to learn Madhubani folk art of India, and we connect. The platform connected them to someone. I got a request from this lady called Martina from Czech Republic,
Mhm.
uh, and she said, I want to join Freebirds and I want to work with you. And I don't know how she heard from Czech Republic about Freebirds. And I never put a single, I've never put marketing there or
Word
approach
of mouth.
there. But then she joined us, and now she's a part of Freebirds. So, so yeah, overall, I see it globally.
Okay.
But my current focus is, at least the beneficiaries will be the Indian market. The hosts currently would be Indians. So it is the Indian market that would benefit from the platform. And perhaps, yeah, hopefully over time, we can grow globally.
Nice. Yeah. You managed to pull it through bootstrapping, as you mentioned, for the funding part. How did you able to do that? I mean, is it only with friends and family support, or you had to get external helping hand to bootstrap with your own?
So till now, it has been friends and family support, or my own money rather. The thing about bootstrapping and the thing about funding is, one thing I've learned about funding is good for you to scale, but getting it too early is also not good for a startup, from what I
Yeah,
have
you can do too
realized.
much of commitment.
Yeah, yeah. So you need to get it at the right time. So for me, when I started the entrepreneurship journey, I'm very clear that I want to figure out the unit economics first.
Mhm.
I don't want to run after a crazy millions of users and crazy amount of funding and valuation. That's a race I'm not in, and I don't want to get in. So I would say that, in fact, last year some investors approached us
Okay.
and they were willing to fund us, and I said no because I felt that if I go there, then I would be running after numbers. And I don't want to run after
Mhm.
numbers because this is something that is my passion project. And like I said, I would rather have 10 people actually benefit from it than millions of users and evaluation. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
So that's why I did not. I'm rather looking for strategic partners. And what do I mean by strategic partners? And this year I will definitely go for funding,
Mhm.
and I will be applying to multiple places for grants or for strategic
Okay.
partnerships. By strategic partnerships, I mean I'm looking for investors who are not looking to make a quick buck, but rather they are in this game, like they are with Freebirds for the next 5 years at least, and they help us in some way more than the money, in terms of network or in terms of advice or in terms of growing the Freebirds community, in terms of and then I'm looking for investors who are into impact
Mhm.
investing, who want to invest for impact. So once I come across those kind of investors, I came across a few in. I was also selected for young social entrepreneurs in Singapore. So
Oh,
came
nice.
across a few there,
Mhm.
in touch with them. It was a brilliant, brilliant program. I mean, I would recommend other entrepreneurs to go for it, do apply for young social entrepreneurs. I didn't win it, so I didn't get the monetary support that I was expecting from the program, that we'll win and we'll get a grant. I did not, but I'll try again. And that's a failure that taught me a lot as well. But till now, I'm bootstrapped. So, like I said, I'm trying to find out the unit economics. And currently, I don't want to be burning cash to market to grow the audience. It should rather be an overall profitable model, because only that way it can be sustainable. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a sustainable model. So that's how I'm currently bootstrapped. Like I told you, I was a little bit more prudent than a lot of my entrepreneur friends. They have jumped directly after college. I did
Okay.
not. I was, I paid off my loans, I did the things, and I had certain amount of savings, that this is the amount I'll use for my startup.
Okay.
So that's why I could do it bootstrapped. But again, it depends from person
Yeah,
to
yeah,
person.
true.
And, and yeah, but one thing I would say for all entrepreneurs is that getting the right funding, the right partners, and at the right time is more important.
Okay.
So no point hurrying there.
Nice.
So at least I wouldn't.
Nice, nice. That process. Yeah. So, can you talk about the technology behind your product? How quick you were able to build it, and how are you managing currently the tech support for running your systems?
Right. So, like I told you, in my case, I did not outsource the technology because I wanted it to be proprietary Freebirds technology, so that we could actually work on a platform that is
Mhm.
useful. And yet, we wanted an MVP quickly. Like, one of the things that all entrepreneurs, I would say, it's important is get your hands dirty and get things out quick.
Mhm.
Experiment. If you don't experiment, I think yeah, I think it's been said enough in books also, that experimentation matters is one book that I recommend people to read as well. So yeah, experiment with it. So we took out the MVP pretty quickly. We started coding in I think October,
Okay,
November is when we started. By January, the first MVP was
okay,
out.
3, 4 months.
So
Yeah.
we Yeah, 3, 4 months. And so, in terms of the tech ecosystem today, I would say that anybody who wants to launch a technology startup, it's much easier than long back. First of all, a lot of open source codes are available, and there's these communities in GitHub and other places from where you get a lot of support in learning. So all of the products have been built by the team in
Mhm.
house, and most of the tools that have been created are proprietary tools using open source technologies. So, for example, we have a hosting tool or an experience creator tool. For example, tomorrow, say Ashok decides, my podcast is very successful. I have done a lot of them, and now I want to teach others how to start their own podcast. So, if you want to launch a course like that, you can actually go to Freebirds. You can create it from scratch, use it as a thinking tool, Once you do that using image processing and AI, we have different tools. For example, you will be recommended what price you can put, what days you should be hosting it. You have an image processing software that brings out an automated poster. So you don't need to sit on Canva and again think of, drawing and creating a poster. The platform generates it for you. The platform is linked to social
Mhm.
media. So you can start marketing it directly. Then again, we use yeah, and then again, there's a booking engine, there's a CRM tool for you to know your users, there is a proper admin tool for you to schedule your things, to upload your stories. So yeah, all these things are our proprietary tools. Apart from that, we also use other tools. For example, payment gateway is something you'll always need. We found Razorpay very
Yeah.
useful, so that's something we use. We use AWS and other APIs that are useful for different things. So yeah, so overall the tech has been done completely by ourselves, and a lot of friends have also helped. Friends who are in different domains, we always call them, ask them wherever we have doubts in designing the UX and figuring out things. And in terms of the UX, I always take user feedback, so that helps us a lot in terms of designing designing things.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Now, how were the days before you started revenue generation, and how did you manage till you started realizing that okay, we started getting revenue, and now we are comfortable to run the business? There is always a gap, and you need to manage it differently before the revenue starts coming in and after the revenue starts coming in, right? So, can you talk about that experiences and how are you managing?
I think these things are always dependent on your mindset, how you see the business. So one of the things my earlier mentors used to say, a leader is someone who can just see a little bit further than everybody else.
Mhm.
So if you're an entrepreneur, you will need to be able to see a little bit further. For example, if you're not earning revenue today, what would it look like when revenue comes up? Once you start earning revenue, what would it look like when scale comes up?
Mhm.
For example, right now I'm figuring out that what would happen if the scale suddenly goes up. How will I handle the operations? How will everything fit into picture? How to streamline and consolidate the processes? So because revenue started coming in, I'm thinking about that. Now, before revenue generation, I would say that I had taken a gestation period of 1 year in my mind.
Mhm.
It'll take 1 year to bring revenues. If you are in the product business, you can earn revenue from day one,
Mhm.
because products still it's still much easier. Product is in physical products, right? If you launch a physical product, but if you launch a platform, if you launch a concept like Freebirds, which is a little bit vague, a little bit abstract, it takes time for people to adopt it. So you initially need those early adopters who would adopt it, and then later the masses will adopt it, and you'll have to be okay about it. A lot of people will not even be a part of it because they wouldn't understand
Mhm.
what it has to offer. So I was ready for that. So in terms of me, I had prepared my mindset for it. I came to India in April 2019. I started my work on Freebirds in May, and our first revenue we generated in January
Okay. Oh,
2020.
that's quick. Yeah.
So it was almost, yeah. So for me, when I had taken that time of 1 year, it was actually earlier. So I was fine with it. But I already had prepared myself that my product is not for example, it's not an interesting cup of chai, or it's not that, okay, there is tea, you are making green tea, so just go and sell. So that's it's not a concept
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, right? So it would take some time for it to gain traction. Till then, we have to do a lot of free workshops, we have to go generate awareness, we have to not just generate awareness but also see what the user wants and not just force your idea onto the
Mhm.
user. So I took that time, and once revenue started coming in, uh, I started looking after how would the bottom line look like when you start marketing.
Okay.
If this is the revenue, again, revenue is good, but once you start scaling up, or uh, what is the bottom line for that revenue, or what is the bottom line for those users? You need to know those.
That's nice. Can you share some of your customer success stories which are close to your heart, which is a pride moment for you for being part of their journey?
Yeah, sure, Ashok. So, like I said, there are multiple such stories that always warm my heart and make me feel very good about what this platform has the potential to do. I would say that we have a long, long way to go. We have a lot to do in terms of making it better for our customers. But I'll share you a couple of stories with you. And I think this is more prevalent across the country as well. So one of the customers who came to Freebirds and they took a session, they attended a cultural immersion that was hosted on the platform. They really liked it and they recommended it to one lady and told her that, join Freebirds and work there. So
Mhm.
now I spoke to the lady to, understand what she wanted to do on Freebirds and what kind of hosting she wanted to do. So interestingly, she started telling me her life story, and it was very emotional for her. And she said, I got educated, I was working in Dubai, and then I got married. Now I am in this place in Haryana where I am just a wife. I don't have an identity anymore. I'm not allowed to work. So my family doesn't let me go out and work. But I
Mhm.
want to do something with my time and I want to have an identity beyond a wife, beyond a daughter in law. So I said, okay, what skills do you have? What do you do? And she said, I make these beautiful handmade cards. And people value my skill so much that somebody gave me a flight ticket to come to Mumbai to teach them how to make those
Wow,
things. So I
nice.
said that you have an amazing skill and you are still doing it every day. So, okay, let's start a session on Freebirds for it. And
Mhm.
this is just one of the stories I'm telling you. There are multiple such stories. There is another lady who is an artist and she's unschooling her child. So she took her child out of school and she's unschooling the child because she believes that she can give a better education to the child if she's full time there with the child. But then she can't do a 9 to 5. She wants to work at her hours, which means that she can do a class for, and she has won national level awards from the government of India in terms of different
Wow,
kinds of
nice.
art forms, from dance to art, a lot of things she does. So
Mhm.
now she has the skill, but she can't be in a traditional setup of a job because her life is different. So she said, Freebirds is the perfect platform for me. I can host a class at 6 o'clock in the evening after people come back from home. Or I can host it both online and offline because Freebirds gives you both options. And
Mhm.
it is a continuous journey for a person. So she can maintain her profile. So similarly, I met multiple such women who said that who have amazing skills and they just are, not being able to have a platform which can give them the exposure to do something with it. So even the session that I told you was taken by the students of Shillong from a lady in Gujarat, another lady in Mumbai. That is an
Mhm.
interesting cultural exchange. And
Yeah, yeah.
if when I look at those videos, when the kids are sitting and learning about recycling, we see a lot of activism or a lot of speeches about the environment. But I personally feel that once you keep telling that okay, this is what you have to do, people just retract. Instead, if you make it a fun activity, so we taught the kids how to make how to make planters out of plastic bottles. So collect all
Okay.
the garbage that's in your area and now create a planter and let's plant little plants there. So that became a
Mm.
fun activity. And during the session, we taught them about the environment, about the importance of recycling. So once you teach these things in a joyful way, children would do it because it's a fun activity. And the output of it is actually good for the environment. So
Oh,
once I
that's amazing.
saw, yeah, so once I saw that these learning experiences help in a deeper dimension, that is amazing. And I think the biggest one was January when we launched because now travel was allowed, the lockdown was over. So we stopped doing online and we said that okay, whoever wants to do online, Freebirds is available, but let's do one offline experiences. So I decided to curate one offline experience myself. We called it Unheard Unseen and we called it Offbeat Travel. Why? Because in that experience, we are not going to take you to Assam and show you Kamakya temple. If you want to do that, there's Make My Trip. go and book it there. But if you want to live in a village, actually with the community, spend time there, live like them. For example, bathe in the river instead of bathing in a bathtub, right?
Nice.
Cooking there with the villagers, learning about their cuisine, uh, dancing with them, foraging with them, all these things, then come to this particular experience. So 12 participants joined us in Assam. And
Mhm.
because Assam was doing COVID tests at that time, and anybody who's coming in had to get a COVID negative report, it was pretty safe. So we all lived together in a camp. The beautiful thing was the last day, every single participant cried and they did not want to go back. I had never seen a travel experience like this. And they said this was so beautiful. We felt like this experience was home because we could never know these things about the culture. In fact, I'll tell you, I am a girl from Assam. I did not know those things about the culture. Assam
Okay.
has multiple tribal communities. So I belong to a different community. Whereas there are tribal communities like Ahom, Missing. Now I don't know about the details of how they live. For example, in the Ahom community, alcohol is a drink of the gods. So it's a
Mhm.
sacred drink called Haz, which they make with rice, and it is for the gods. So they keep it so beautifully, and they actually put 25 types of medicines in that drink. And those
Oh, okay.
25 types of medicines, we did some research with some ethnobotany experts who had come there, and the participants got to see that critical discourse. Those things that are put in that drink actually help you go through any issues with the stomach, any issues with fever, any issues with the skin. And it's a very interesting thing what local communities do. And the city folks learn from them, the village folks learn from them. And the other interesting part was not just the participants, the people from the village on the last day, they were hugging the participants and crying. And I asked one of the ladies, why are you so emotional? I mean, there must be a lot of travelers who come here. She said, a lot of tourists come here, but I have never met tourists like them. Like these are travelers, because they
Mm.
live here they have become our daughters and our sisters and our brothers and our sons. This is how the camaraderie happened because this was an immersion of a different kind. So that's when I realized that yes, there are participants who want to do that. And it brings a different sense of respect and recognition to the local community. Because now they are not seen as the people who is, cooking for you, cleaning for you. They are now seen as family people who are living with you. You want to know about their lives. You want to learn about their lives. So that's a different dynamic altogether. So yeah,
Yeah,
these
great.
kind of stories where
Yeah,
I would say.
it's a great innovation in with respect to the experience itself in travel community. Nice, good. So, how did you manage, and how are you managing the sales and marketing strategies for your business, and which formula has worked for you?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, because we are bootstrapped, we are not marketing very heavily. And in the beginning, I kept it that way because if I'm looking for early adopters in Freebirds, then I need to look for people who are actually interested in doing something like this because building a community takes time, it takes effort. So one of the strategies I used was like there are multiple things you can do, right? You can work on the product completely and you bombard the market with it, market it, and see how it goes and convert it. But initially, I was not focusing on sales so much, but I was focusing on the right kind of people on the platform. So
Mhm.
if I'm marketing it, I used word of mouth as a very, very strong tool. And I recommend it to entrepreneurs also. Word of mouth definitely, definitely works. One person tries out your product, make sure they have the best experience. Because once they have the experience, they go back and tell two people, then out of those two people, probably one will come, or out of those 10, maybe two, three will come. Once that comes, then it grows. So once this organic set of people, right now, I think we have 2,000 people on the platform from
Oh,
January
nice.
to now. So, and
Okay.
again, through word of mouth, not through, marketing or ads. Yes, we have done a couple of digital marketing ads. I mean, for an entrepreneur, social media is a boon. I mean, big boon because we
Yeah.
can't do mass media. Mass media is expensive, whereas digital media is much cheaper. You can actually target your audience very easily through digital media. or SEO, SEM, all these things definitely work. So we've done a couple for some experiences which we wanted sales in. So I have used digital marketing only for sales, not that much for brand building. I have only used it for sales because things like unheard, unseen, when we needed to sell tickets, we have actually put in ads. Otherwise, for the platform itself, we have kept it completely organic. Freebirds as a platform is only growing through word of mouth. Individual experiences, yes, I've approached it from a sales angle, but very few. We might not have even spent more than $15 throughout the year on marketing of the entire thing. So, and we have made sure that every experience, it is not burning cash for the host and for us. So these things I've worked on. A few things I think in today's day and age that entrepreneurs can know about works is affiliate programs.
Mhm.
On the online space, people want to support each other. So affiliate programs is something that we launched, and it's still start in the beginning phase. So we haven't had much success with it, but I think it is one of the ways to go. And
Okay.
one of the things I will be working on is an ambassador program, or working
Okay.
directly with colleges where we have college ambassadors
Mhm.
who benefit out of this program. They can learn leadership skills, they can actually execute in their colleges, and at the same time, it for the free birds, it becomes a marketing platform to the colleges or to the students. So yeah, this is
Okay.
another marketing program that we will start.
That's nice. Yeah, because you're involving college students and boosting up their morale as well in terms of work. Very interesting informations. Thank you. And moving on to the next segment of our episode, rapid fire questions. Yeah, I've
Okay.
listed a few questions. Let me bring it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, what's your favorite sports or game you play?
Catan, Settlers of Catan. It's not a sport, it's a board game.
Okay. Okay. On what you spend shopping mostly?
Shopping. I think I love collecting these collectibles toys. For example, Arya Stark from Game of Thrones and Darth
Okay.
Vader from Star Wars. So all these techie little toys
Okay.
and gadgets like VR sets.
Nice. What time you hit bed and what time you wake up? How does your first few hours of your morning look like?
There is no timing. I have a very bad schedule. There are days I sleep at 11, wake up at 5 and 6. There are
Mm.
days I sleep at 3 and 4 and wake up at 10, 12. So it all depends on my day. I have no routine. I need to bring that discipline in my life, actually.
Okay.
In my morning routine, my first thing, I, like everybody else, go up, brush and everything. But I love my morning cup of tea. I have to sit alone in the morning. I mean, in the morning, I don't want to talk to anybody. For some time, my favorite thing to do is waking up, getting there, getting to the kitchen, making myself a nice warm cup of tea, sitting and thinking about what I'm going to do in the day, what happened yesterday, and just being on my own. So yeah, that
Yeah,
is
you're a tea person.
yeah.
Me too. And what's your favorite subject in school?
Oh, maths.
Okay. Which book you have read recently or an article and you liked it?
Autobiography of a Yogi. It's a book I'm
Okay.
currently reading and I'm loving it.
Oh, nice. What's the best thing that happened to you this month?
What's the best thing that happened to me this month? Ah, um, why am I lost here? I think I got to see my cats again. I was away for a month
Okay.
and I was traveling. So when I saw my cats after a long time, I hugged them and I was like, this is the best thing, being at my
Okay.
home with my cats.
Okay. What's the best compliment you ever received for your accomplishments so far?
Oh, I think the best compliment was in my college actually. I was in the fourth year of my college, and one African girl was studying there, Thabisile, and
Mhm.
she came to me and she says, "Congratulations." I said, "Why?" She said, "For being you, I love you." And just being acknowledged for being me was something I loved.
Nice. So, what does creativity means to you in one sentence?
Expression.
Wow. That's short and sweet. Nice. So it was wonderful talking to you, Rithika. I thoroughly enjoyed getting all the insights you have gathered. Thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge in this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashok. It's great work that you're doing. You're bringing out stories of Indian startups, and we all entrepreneurs always want to, learn from each other. And this podcast is a great way to do it. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are at the end of episode number 18. Thank you very much, Rithika, for coming on and sharing your experiences. And to our listeners, you can find out the episode summary in the description. Until we catch up soon with more exciting stories, stay tuned, be motivated. Thank you.